Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits. Because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, shall we? Shall we not forget that, please and thank you? Man, oh man, what a morning it has been. There has been a lot of crap that's been going on this morning. And of course, there's been some not much updates, but we're still here to talk about this main topic, this main conversation. So we're going to be talking about Nancy Guthrie and the updates that we have so far, which isn't much. It's very minimal, but we will be talking about that. And then there's a couple other things that we need to talk about as well that's been going on in the world for sure that I can't not talk about, to be really honest. So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. All right? Hit that follow button. Don't forget to subscribe right here on my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Subscribe right here. Please and thank you. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell, okay? Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, whenever I put up a short, because sometimes I only have time to just do a quick short video. So make sure you have that notification bell set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right, I try to squeeze this in during a very busy time of year for myself. So please, if you can, that'd be greatly appreciated, okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, PascalMerch.com. Go check it out. All right, guys. We have got to get into this conversation. Oh, what a morning. What a day to wake up, you know? Like, no, I'm thankful. Don't get me wrong. Hold up. I am thankful I'm on this side of the earth, okay? This side of the soil. Let me just be real. But we are literally living in the upside down. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on that I feel like we're starting to see. Well, we gonna get straight to it, okay? I can't not talk about something that just happened before we go into the Nancy Guthrie conversation, okay? And yes, it has been one hell of a week. It has been one hell of a week, all right? And let me just say this. We are going straight into the Nancy Guthrie stuff, so don't worry. But there is something that just recently happened this morning that I'm telling you right now, I just think it's wrong. I think it's absolutely messed up and jacked up, whatever the word is, just wild. And I already did this as a short, okay? I just kind of did a quick rant and then posted it, right? And I get it. You know, whenever we get into political stuff, people get in their fees. People go, oh, yeah, you know, they jump on one side of the fence or the other. But this, if you are a caring human being, if you're a non-racist individual, you should be standing on the side of good and side-eyeing this situation like a mug. Now, we have to talk about this. I'm going to try not to show images on here as best as I can, but we have got to talk about this. Sorry, not sorry. Now, here's a little story, and it goes a little something like this. Trump went to his Truth Social, okay? And he posted a video. And the video was about a little bit about a minute long. And near the end of that video, it shows the Obamas depicted as primates. I mean, do I have to hit the dun dun dun? I mean, fine. Okay. So you know that story, okay? Don't worry, I'm not going to get on a soapbox and be like, and that's why this man is racist. We already know. Like that is pretty blatantly racist. We already know that, okay? It's the aftermath. I mean, first off, that's deplorable. It's disgusting. It's wrong. It's, you know what I mean? But it's not really shocking, but it is at the same time. But what's really shocking is how his administration jumped forward and said, oh, stop, you drama queens. Y'all are being dramatic, right? This outcry is just so stupid and a waste of time, and fake outrage is what they said, right? So first, he puts this thing up. It's on his truth, or it was on his Truth Social. We're going to get to that in a second. But he posted that on his Truth Social. Then the world reacted like, wow, he just did that. That's insane, right? Then Caroline, she went to the White House, not the TikTok, I'm sorry, their Twitter page, and basically said, you're wasting your time being so outraged. We have better things to worry about than this fake outrage, right? Okay, first off, this is a former president that he has just posted a video about, showing them in a very racist way. And I don't need to explain to you about the, racism, the words that have been said, the racist words that have been said about black people and primates, etc. Okay, I digress, right? So Caroline goes to the White House social media and says, oh, you guys, it's all fake, this fake outrage. What in the hell, right? But then there's even more push, because there's even more people, even people on the side of Republicans, that are speaking out and saying, yo, that was out of pocket, man. That is complete. Like, this is the most racist thing I've seen in a long time. I hope to God they take this down, right? So here's what's crazy. Trump then deletes the post, which I'm happy he did. At least he was smart enough to take it down. But then he blames a junior staffer for posting that video. So hold on. Let me get this straight. The millions of tweets that he puts out every single mother-loving day while he's eating his Big Macs, downing his large Diet Cokes and his French fries, as he's sitting on the porcelain throne, dropping a deuce in the wee hours of the morn and the wee late hours of the night. You mean to tell me that a junior staffer went onto his social media Truth Social account and posted this video depicting the Obamas as primates, and it wasn't him? Oh, here's another thing, too. Let me just ask this, too. So you mean to tell me that you don't check to make sure, if it was a junior staffer, you don't check to make sure that the things that he's posting, you're okay with? You don't give him the thumbs up? Like, go ahead and post that. Yeah, I like that. Go ahead and post that. That's funny. Go ahead and post that. Or, no, that's very patriotic. Go ahead and post that. You mean to tell me that you don't even vet the content that's being posted onto your Truth Social account? That says a lot now, doesn't it? And that's what he's saying. A junior staffer did it, not him. So some snot-nosed, racist kid decided to post that. Because at first, I jumped the gun a little bit. Caroline, right? She said, this is all fake outrage. How dare you? Blah blah blah. Right? But then after that, she said, while in that same statement, she said, oh yeah, no, he was king of the jungle. In the video, if you see the video, he's king of the jungle. That's why Obama, Barack, and Michelle are apes. Huh? Sorry, the logic doesn't make any sense. Sure, I can see like, I don't know, Biden, you know, Joe and Jill, right? Apes. It was Obama and Michelle, Barack and Michelle as apes. Massive difference. And yet they're saying this is fake outrage. And now, if it was fake outrage, he would have left that video up, right? But the reason why he's reacting in this way and he took it down, is because people on the right, conservatives, were reacting to this as well. Real talk. So here's the thing. I surmise that he posted this. And now somebody's head has to roll for what he did. That's it. And here's the other thing that really drives me crazy. I mean, still, no matter what, it doesn't matter what month this landed on. Okay. It doesn't matter. It could be Christmas time. It could be the 4th of July. But the fact that this landed on Black History Month of all months, which is a month he doesn't really celebrate anyway, is a huge problem to me. And it should be a huge problem to you as well. Even my white listeners. Sorry, got it called out. Even my white listeners. This should be a massive problem and should concern you as well. Because if my summary, my assumption, my common sense serves me correctly, and he did post this, then that shows you what kind of president we're dealing with right now. Sorry, not sorry. We've already been gaslit 1 million times. We've already been lied to 1 million times. If you know anything about the Epstein files and the fact that they finally dropped half of them now, you already know the trail, the journey we've had to go through just to get the 3.5 million files that have been dropped. In fact, I saw some things that I don't ever want to ever see again when it comes to those Epstein files, like so much that it makes me want to cry right now. Stuff that will make the most hardened of man cry. All in those Epstein files. Videos that I can't unsee them now. Same dude gaslit us all, lied to us. Now we got this. Oh, let's not forget that what happened to the situation in Minneapolis, the Alex Preddy situation. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you were on. If you think it was he justifiably lost his life or you thought it was not justified. The fact that they lied to us in real time about that too, saying that he was brandishing his weapon when he actually wasn't. Seen plain as day in our faces, all on camera in multiple angles. That man was not brandishing a weapon, right? So we've seen countless things, countless moments, okay? And now we're seeing this. This is wrong, and it's deplorable. It's disgusting. And if you expected me not to say something about it, then you don't know what the show's all about. This stuff breaks my heart. And instead of saying, oh, lo siento, we're bad, I will do better, made bad choices, he just throws the blame to a junior staffer. It's really sad. Actually, here's what's even more crazy. I just want to throw something else in here. It's so insane. There's so many levels to this information. Just one last thing. I just want to point something out. So the clip, which the president shared late last night, he shared it on his account, his own account. All right. Focus on the accusations of fraud during the 2020 election. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the video, an AI clip flashes up showing the Obama's faces imposed on bodies of apes. Backed by the song The Tokens, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. You don't catch that? The Tokens. No one else is catching that? That's a ground ball. And if you don't know the name of the actual group, you're just hearing in the jungle, the mighty jungle. You know what I mean? That song, right? The lion sleeps tonight. But if you didn't know the name of the group, there's layers to this joke that he was trying to put out. Word, y'all. Sorry, that's a dun dun dun. So a white staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down. This is what the White House spokesperson told the Daily Mail on Friday. Without naming the staffer, it is holding responsible for the late night posting. I'd like to know who that staffer's name is, and I'd like to know if that person is fired. Because you could say any junior staffer, right? Am I right or am I right? You could say any junior staffer right now. You know, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Yeah, it was one of them. Who it be then? Who has access? What junior staffer has access to his social media account? Word. Who has access to his social media account? What junior staffer? A junior staffer. He could go up there and say anything he wants. You know what I mean? We about to take over such and such. You know what I mean? Anybody can take access. Like, how are you trusting a junior staffer over anybody else to run your stuff? The reason why they're saying a junior staffer is because we're not gonna try to find out who that is. It's just a junior staffer. But if he said, "Oh yeah, that was Caroline that did it," her head would be on the chopping block. You understand that? So that's why they're picking some random junior staffer. There's so many of them. I can't differentiate between all the junior staffers. They all look the same, dag nabbit. So again, very interesting, right? They have not named, at least as far as this article goes, they have not named this junior staffer so far. So again, she was sitting there. Look, this is Caroline saying this, okay? She doubled down on Trump's swipe on the Obama family, which, by the way, should not even been happening. There should not have been a doubling down. That, like, Caroline did that. Caroline's like, no, y'all got it all wrong. This fake outrage. What? So she says, this is from an internet meme video depicting Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Okay, please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public. Really? Really now? You see what I'm saying? Caroline just went out of her way to just double down on something that is blatantly racist. You know, like I said, Maya Angelou has said it best. When they tell you who they are, believe them. Sorry, not sorry. The fact that you got individuals, even South Carolina Senator, Republican, by the way, Black Republican, the only Black Republican in the Senate, tweeting, going, whoa, this is the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. Verbatim, he has said that. Black conservative senator saying that out loud. And others are speaking out too, saying that this is wrong. It's the most tone-deaf thing I've ever seen in, well, this week. So there you have it, guys. Just want to share that with you guys. I can't not talk about that. All right? That's insane. It's insane. And if you feel some type of way about it, then that should say something about yourself too. Here's the other thing too. All right. Imagine if it was something, if it was something racist or something deplorable towards something that you care for or love, or towards your family or towards your own lineage. How would that make you feel? That would piss you off too. Doesn't have to be like St. Patty's Day month or anything like that. Doesn't have to be March or anything of that sort. Okay. But this is the kind of blatant racism that happens every single day. And I know some of you guys will be like, oh God, here we go. He's getting on his soapbox to sit there and say all this stuff. No, I'm just saying something that's very obvious and very sad, because no matter what, there are a lot of us that are walking around that are constantly being judged by the color of our skin. Haven't even opened our mouths to speak yet, and we're automatically thrown under the bus. And the fact that we have an administration that has posted a video that racist, and then instead of them saying, immediately saying, oh my gosh, we didn't see that, that was a mistake, they doubled down and they called this fake outrage. What world are we living in? Sure, there are people out here going, oh, the white man's coming back, the white man's taking the country back type stuff. Sure. But you ain't going to get it back by doing stuff like this. So there's that. Had to get that off my chest. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. But let's go over to Nancy Guthrie in that case. We have not a whole lot going on, which is unfortunate. There are some theories that have been put out here like crazy, which is one of them for sure that I'm very curious about as well. All right. I am very, very curious about this. It's an interesting theory, to say the least. This is a very, very interesting theory that maybe the doorbell camera was actually taken as a test. It's an interesting theory. It does kind of make sense if you hear out this particular investigator's his theory. If we hear him out, you'll see it's very, very interesting. It does kind of make sense. It does. Okay. So Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper disconnected, which we already know, disconnected her doorbell camera to test if it would prompt a response from police. All right. This is what NBC, today's crime expert, has suggested. So that is a very interesting thought, that maybe they ran up, grabbed the doorbell camera and said, okay, where's 50? Where 50 at? Right? Now, that is very interesting. That maybe they took it, sat around, because again, it's like 25 minutes between the time that they disconnected the camera, the Ring camera, from the front door to the time that software data recorded movement of some kind inside the house. So at 1:47, they walked up to the Ring door, right? Ring door camera. They ripped it off. And then they sat there for 25 minutes or around 25 minutes. Because it's like, okay, it's been 15 minutes. Police haven't shown up. All right, wait. Let's wait another 5, right? And then that's when they finally went in to go get Nancy. Interesting, right? And yeah, Kate, just wanting truth. I'm wanting truth too, girl. I want the same doggone thing everybody else does, right? I just want this to be figured out. I want this to start making sense. I'm getting sick and tired of this mess. We are also hearing from reports from other places, basically calling this an absolute mess, that this investigation has become extremely messy. And again, I'm not super surprised about the mess. Look at that last press conference we had. They left us completely back at zero. Completely confused. And now everybody, and I feel like they gaslit all of us as well. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it feels like. They gaslit the hell out of all of us. And I'm specifically talking about that sheriff. 1 minute he's talking, saying all these things. She was taken from her bed. And, oh, the whole place was bad. And you could tell that, there was some sort of commotion that happened inside. So you could tell that she was taken, right? But then again, at the same time, it's like, why keep walking it back, right? Why walk it back? Some of us are thinking that maybe he's feeling some type of way about what Ashley Banfield said on her podcast. I feel like it's part of that. Because as soon as she said out loud, oh yeah, brother-in-law is going to be named, the prime suspect, all of us clutched our pearls. All of us reacted like, whoa, that's crazy, right? That's crazy and scary all at the same damn time, right? But I think that pissed off the sheriff. And I get it to a certain extent. You don't want the bad guys to know what they have, what they're stacking up, right? I get that part. But it doesn't make any sense for you to go all the way out of your way and just basically say, like, everything you heard is not true. And, oh, you say the front door was busted open? That there was forced entry? I don't know where you guys got that information. I have no idea where you got that information. Yet he said that to other sources himself. So again, to me, this feels like he doesn't, he isn't properly vetted in the world of media. Small time sheriff, small town cop type thing. He's just not used to this type of heightened intensity, right? But nonetheless, doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:47 a.m. Then 25 minutes later at 2:12 a.m., somebody was inside that house, or there was movement by someone inside that house, which police acknowledge could have come from a person or animal, which that's possible. Could have been a coyote, right? Walking through or something like that. Anything's possible. All right. But Guthrie did not have an active subscription with the Doorbell app, so the company was unable to recover any footage, which, by the way, let me just say this. No disrespect to the Guthrie family or anything of that sort, but I'm going to ask this. Why would you have the cameras but have no subscription to it at all to record the footage? Why would you have them there for security's sake, but then not pay the subscription so that you can save, even if it just saves the last 12 hours, it can save it before it hits re-record, right? Why do that? That doesn't make any sense. And the only other explanation I can think of in my head is this. She had a subscription, but then somebody canceled it. That's the only thing I can think of outside of she had it there for show. That she just had these security cameras out here to make the potential perpetrators think, oh, I can't come in here because there's cameras everywhere. It's either that one or someone canceled her subscription in advance before they went and did their thing. And if they did that, that means they know this person, that they know Nancy, and Nancy knows them, if that's the case, and only if that's the case. Because it just doesn't make any sense. You go in there and then you cancel your subscription. Why? Don't get me wrong, I get it. You get, we all pay bills and then we go back and we go, damn, I'm paying how much for Hulu? Damn, I don't need no Hulu. I'm good. You know what I mean? Or, you're looking at things, you're like, I didn't know I was paying a certain amount a month for this. $25 a month for this? I haven't even used this thing in a year. So I've been spending for a whole year, $25 each month for this crap? No, I'm good. Cancel it. Cancel it. I'm wasting money. Right? I've seen that before. But when it comes to security, I feel like that's kind of an important, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a very important bill to pay. Like, oh, I live in a small area. It's a really nice affluent town. There's no way anybody's going to do anything here. But that's specifically the reason why you do get those security cameras, because there's people out here that are, from the inner city or whatever, that will come out to the areas, right? Those really nice areas, and try to do a little B&E, breaking and entering. Not to take an 84-year-old woman, but to, case the joint, take everything they can. You see what I'm saying? So again, it doesn't make any sense. Simon just said, it's thank you so much for the comment. It's only $10 a month. I have it, worth every penny. So if it's $10 a month, that's less than Netflix. And you know how it is. It seems like every damn month they go, Netflix is, upgrading, upping their membership fee. And you just kind of like, okay. And you just wave it off like, okay. But it seems like it's every damn 6 months they're like, oh, by the way, and instead of it being $14.99, now it's $20.99. You're like, damn. You don't pay attention to it. You're just like, all right, fine. It's getting, it's getting paid automatically, off my card. No big deal, right? So, it's the same thing. But everyone needs Netflix. But we definitely, if you got security cameras, you definitely need those security cameras. So why would they suddenly not pay the measly $10 a month? You see what I'm saying? That just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, so there's a part of me that's like, okay, if they went up, disconnected the camera from the front door, it would make sense. They're like, they rip it off and maybe it would trigger something, right? It would trigger something, like something would go off or whatever. And then you'd have 5-0, whoop, whoop. You know what I mean? Pulling up, blue and whites pulling up. What's up? Right? And then nobody showed up. There was no response. There was no activity. So then they went and somehow got inside the house. Now the sheriff is saying that he's like, I don't know where you got this forced entry conversation about. Yet he's the one who mother loving said it. But either this person, if the forced entry thing is not true, or he, I don't know, through investigation found out there wasn't any forced entry. Either way, somebody kicked the door open or used the key to open the door up to walk into the mother-loving house. Or somebody was knocking on the door hard, and then Nancy Guthrie walked straight over to the front door and answered the front door. That's the only other thing I can think of. But like I said, it does make sense that this particular, this investigator said, oh, maybe this persons pulled the camera off and waited a second just to see if there was something going on, right?
147, the doorbell camera disconnects. That's a critical moment. 212, software detects a person on a camera. Now, you might be sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, you just told me that they took the doorbell camera off the door. According to the sheriff, there are multiple cameras that were at the home. They may not have been in a position to record, or they may not have been saving that moment, but at least there is a software that says that there's some motion out there. We all have these apps, or we've seen them, that tells us somebody's outside. So that's at 212. And then at 238, the pacemaker app disconnects from the phone. So for sure, Nancy Guthrie is separated from her phone at a moment before 238, because obviously it goes out of range. So it's still connected for a little bit. But we know that the phone, which was found in the house, according to the sheriff, that Nancy Guthrie is away from the home and away from that phone sometime before 238. And of course, you got this question, well, 40 minutes. Yeah. What's with that 20-minute time gap? The cameras gets ripped off the doorbell, but then there's motion seen on the camera outside, 20 minutes later. What's that about? Some people in law enforcement wonder if the person took the doorbell camera off and waited to see if police arrived. Would that alert anything? Would that do anything? And then perhaps thinking the coast was clear, goes back to the house. We don't know. We don't know the specifics of what camera detected the motion either.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They don't know what actually sparked the cameras or the software to say, oh, yeah, somebody was there, right? Somebody is in the area, with this thing. They haven't said anything of that sort. And I don't think we ever will find that part out. That's the problem. Until Nancy is found and this person or persons have been arrested, right? But, again, like I said, there's just so much that's just not computing, that's just not making any sense, which is very, very frustrating. But, let's continue on, because, of course, there are so many things that just, it's just frustrating, y'all. So, let's take a look at this.
Investigation, former FBI Special Agent Daniel Bruner. Great to see you again. I'd like to listen, first of all, just to some of the latest video from the family. Again, this is from Savannah's brother, Cameron.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
All right, so Daniel, in this world we live in now of AI and so many deep fakes, what is proof of life at this point?
Well, I think proof of life is going to be exactly what we get around it, is something that's so specific that only she, Savannah's mother and Savannah's family would know. Something very specific, something personal to her, saying something that from their childhood, something that can't be recreated using a computer. Artificial voice can be redone, facial can be done, but it's just, you have to go to the next level. And I'm sure that is being communicated via these messages, because there's no direct communication from the family to the individuals that are doing this. So that's where the difficulty is. There is no direct communication, because these kidnappers are utilizing media outlets to pass their messages. So there's a lot of things that are not usual, that are not normal with this incident.
It's so many things. I mean, this is just...
It's extremely odd. And that's the thing, though. It's the question of what is actually... the fact that they've said, we saw this video last night. I might play that again for those of y'all who didn't see the show last night. It was a late show. But we talked about and heard from Harvey Levin talking about the ransom note. And one of the things that they said in the ransom note is that they're like, we are not interested in talking. There is no room for conversation here. We want what we want. Get us what we want. Here's some information just so you know, proof positive that we have your mama. Here's all the information. We don't want to have a conversation with you. We just want our stuff. And apparently there was 2 deadlines. One of them was yesterday at 5 p.m. And then there's another one on Monday. And I don't know what time the cutoff date or what the cutoff time is on Monday, but nonetheless, they're like, you got these are your 2 opportunities. And I have a feeling that they said, and we talked about this last night because you guys are brilliant, because I didn't put that two and two together, because in my mind, I'm like, 2 deadlines makes no freaking sense. But maybe, and you guys mentioned this, so thank you to you guys, maybe they said you get this deadline, and or something devastating is going to happen to her after you don't meet this deadline. And then if you don't meet this deadline on Monday, I think something even more devastating is going to happen to the mom, right? You know, and again, you know, this makes me think of the movies. I'm sorry, but it does. It feels like we're literally in a movie, but maybe they're saying, hey, if you don't, you are going to see your mommy in pieces. We will start sending you pieces of your mom. Maybe something of that sort, right? Monday is the deadline. Monday is the finite, definitive deadline. And if you do not make this deadline, every day you're going to see little bits of your mom. And you don't want to see little bits of your mom. So send us the money. There is no room for conversation. You see what I'm saying? So interesting, right? Messi, I saw that. I'll take a look at that here for sure. Just give me a second. Wait. Yeah, hypnotizes lobsters. Yes, I saw the cross-reference type of thing. I don't think it has anything to do with anything deeper than her just saying what she said, and it just happens to be, I just think it's a coincidence, to be really honest. But I saw that TikTok. I've seen it. And I was like, yeah, I think people are reaching. You know what I mean? Like, because we don't know anything, this is the problem with cases like this. There's a thin line, you know, between the, you know, trying to find them to ancient aliens. You know what I mean? Like, idle minds is the conspiracy theorist plaything. Okay, not the devil, but like the conspiracy theorist devil. Conspiracy theorist plaything. Dear Lord, idle minds is the conspiracy theorist's plaything. That's what I truly think. If there's not enough information, if you don't know what's going on, then people start spinning off this planet and coming up with all kinds of wild, sometimes really out there conspiracy theories. I'm not saying that that's a wild one, but I see the connection, but I just don't see anything deeper than that. You see what I'm saying? Again, when we don't have a lot of information, it can be very dangerous. Okay. People start spinning off this planet quick. Well, nowadays, everyone spins off this planet very fast, but let us continue. Like I said, it's 2 seconds to, you know, this is the possible prime suspect to mother-loving ancient aliens. You know what I'm saying? It gets that crazy that quick nowadays. It's insane.
Such an unusual case. So we know now, Nancy just talked about the fact that one imposter has already been arrested. So how does the family proceed with this now Monday deadline looming? We know yesterday's came and went. We don't know specifically what this deadline means. We can all use our imaginations, though. So do they pay the ransom and pray for the best? Do they ignore it till they receive some sort of proof of life? How do they proceed?
Well, it's working closely with the FBI. You have incredible crisis negotiators. You have negotiators who have done this experience. You have behavioral analysis unit individuals at Quantico who conduct and analyze every message that is being received. They look at all the evidence. They look at all the physical evidence. They look at even the blood droppings and, you know, the cutting of the wrist. They will formulate a plan as to how they want to move forward. The FBI never is never going to say, go ahead, pay the ransom. But there is an understanding that the FBI will say, we do not recommend you pay the ransom, but we understand if you do. So
real quick, I'm looking for the Brian Enton thing. Where is it? On YouTube? Are you talking about something, the video that he posted really early this morning? Or are you talking about a video he just posted on X? Because I don't see any post of any kind on X right now, Messi. So just let me know what that is all about. But I'm going to continue.
that is going to be ultimately Savannah Guthrie's family's decision to how they're going to proceed forward, but all will be coordinated very closely with the FBI there in Arizona.
What does it say, in your opinion, about the captors' level of experience or perhaps knowledge here that they are using the media when it comes to these demands, that they have sent this note to multiple outlets, including, TMZ, which they knew would then be, somehow made public?
I think that's incredibly concerning to me, because one of the things that I was thinking about earlier in this incident during the weekend, as this really started to progress, was the more attention this gets,
Hey guys,
the more dangerous it is for Savannah Guthrie's mom, because if it gets more attention, the kidnappers may do something rash because they're getting so nervous about the circle closing in on them. But the fact that they reached out to media outlets, TMZ and others, to pass their message, they're sending, this is, again, is not a traditional kidnapping that we've seen with Lindbergh baby or other kidnapping situations, the Sinatra family from our past years. This is different. This is changed. They want attention. They want the spotlight to be put on this incident. And to me, it's going outside the guidelines of what's normal. But the FBI is going to obviously, definitely, with the agents and negotiators and the squad conducting the investigation in both Arizona and New York, and I'm sure that they're interviewing Savannah's, all her producers, all her staff, to find out if there is some sort of threat. And they're going to look at the neighborhood around the house. They're going to see if there were suspicious vehicles days before. They're going to look at cellular analysis, what cell phone towers were in the area, and that what they were hitting, maybe certain cell phone towers, because this individuals conducted surveillance. I'm sure of it, that they were prepared for this, that they knew. So if the FBI is going to be looking at days before using cellular analysis, they're going to start seeing a pattern of some phone numbers at a certain time because they wanted to conduct their strike late at night. So I think they're going to start seeing a pattern, and hopefully we'll start getting some additional leads.
thank you.
And the jump scare. I think what they're going to do is exactly what he's saying. They're going to triangulate. They're going to go through a whole bunch of phone numbers. That is, if these assailants or this assailant had their phone on them, you never know. They may have left everything behind because they didn't want things they didn't want to get tracked. But it's also a possibility that they're dumb enough. You know what I mean? They're dumb enough to, have the phone on them as well. I'm very hopeful for that, right? But nonetheless, we'll see what they find out. Obviously, they're doing everything they can to figure out what's going on. But I mean, here it is. She's been gone 6 days now, right? She's been gone 6 days. Yeah, she's been gone 6 days, guys. Allegedly without her medication, whatever. This is absolutely insane. And I guess the ongoing question is, how long is it going to take them to get proper information to start zeroing in on whoever has her? How long is it going to take? Here's the other thing, too. Let's not forget the main thing. They have not shown any proof of life so far. You saw the video of the brother basically saying, right at 5 o'clock, Mountain Standard Time, okay? He put out a video and he said, hey, we need you to contact us. We just want to make sure she's home. Okay. We want to work with you. We want to talk to you. Can you please send us something? And here's the other thing too. It makes sense. It's would you pay, let me ask you guys this. Would you pay an I'll do it as a poll too, but I'm going to say it out loud. And if I forget, somebody remind me what I just said here. Would you pay the ransom without any proof of life? Would you do that? And from my understanding, the way that Harvey Levin said is that it was a significant amount of money. He said it's a significant amount of money. This isn't just a couple mil. They're asking for a lot of monies. So I'm wondering, do you take the money and give it to them, be like, whatever, just bring mommy home? Or you go, hell to the no. We need to see proof of life. And then we'll give you any dollar amount you ask for. In fact, you can add another mill on it. I don't care. As long as I see proof of life, right? What would you do? What would you do? Pop quiz hotshot, right? I am an FBI agent. Sorry. Two different movies, Keanu Reeves. It was two different movies. Sorry. But moving on. What would you do? Right? What would you do? Now, I'm gonna put that as a poll, but I am going to pull up this video from TMZ because we got new updates right here. So let's take a look.
I looked at this alleged ransom note 20 times last night, and there was something that piqued my interest from the beginning. And I believe now that there is a way of connecting the dots, and that law enforcement has an area that they are most interested in terms of where Nancy might be, if this letter is legit. And I say it for this reason, that obviously the person who took Nancy, if this is the person who wrote this ransom letter, they're demanding money. And if they get the money, they're saying they will return her. That's obvious, right? Well, in the letter, it says they would return her back to Tucson. So they also give a time frame of how long it would take after they receive the money to return her to Tucson. So there's a time frame. Now, if you look at the time frame, then you say, well, you can draw a circle around Tucson to see how long maximum it would take to get her back there. And they're not going to fly her back, because the last thing they're going to do is go to an airport where Nancy Guthrie shows ID. That's not going to happen. So clearly it would be driving. And they're not going to drive at 100 miles an hour because if they get stopped for speeding, it's over. So they're going to go at around the speed limit. So let's say that if this letter is legit, they would travel at about 60 miles an hour. So based on this time frame in the letter and the fact that she would be returned back to Tucson, here's the way it looks. If you look, this is Tucson right here. If you look at this red circle, that is the radius of the maximum amount of time it would take to get her back to Tucson, all around this circle. It incorporates California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho. It incorporates Colorado, Wyoming, a little bit of Kansas, and a little bit of Oklahoma. Now, that's a big area for sure, but it is not the full United States. It's not the world. At least it's a defined area. And again, if the letter is legitimate, then it would seem, based on the amount of time maximum it would take to bring her back to Tucson, it's this area that I would think authorities are most interested in. And remember, they are looking for anybody who possibly has information on the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie. So there's a $50,000 reward for information leading to her return. So I would think that this area is particularly interesting to them. I want to say a couple of other things. The letter, people have been asking, does it seem like it's written by just a crazy person? And the answer is no. This letter was very well constructed. It had structure. It had a beginning, middle, and end. It was well done. I mean, if you took this letter to an English teacher and said, give me notes on structure, on grammar, you probably would get no notes back. It's done by somebody, I believe, who is educated and really spent time. This was not something that took 5 minutes to write.
Or they were able to write this with the help of ChatGPT. Think about that too. How about ChatGPT? Okay. And oh, by the way, if there's hyphens, that's the other question I want to know. Are there hyphens in the prose? Because if there's hyphens in the prose, it's a safe bet. It's a safe bet it was ChatGPT, just so you know. So it might have been very well written because it was like, okay, I'm trying to say X, Y, and Z. Help me construct this paragraph or this letter in this way, which is wild to be like, so hi ChatGPT. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, so I'm in the middle of writing a ransom note because I have an 84-year-old woman that is the mother of a very, very well-known TV show host, and she's got lots of money. So can you help me write this, pen a ransom note? And ChatGPT says, say less, my brother. I got you. How about this one? You got 5 different options. Which one? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just read through them and let me know which one works for you. Oh, this one's great. Thank you. I'll choose number 2. 2? Okay, great. Actually, can you rewrite it and just kind of write it a little bit less in my voice? Do you mind doing that for me? Sure. No problem. ChatGPT can do all that stuff for you, baby. Takes 2 seconds. Okay? So maybe it was written so well because it was ChatGPT that did it. You know what I mean? Or maybe, you never know. Whoever the bad guy is could be like, as he's doing the he's doing his perp walk when he's finally caught. He's like, I wrote it. You know what I mean? You never know. He might do that. He might be like, you know what I mean? I got a doctorate at I don't know, at Oxford for English. I am the one who penned it, and I penned it, not ChatGPT. So you never know. You never know. But ChatGPT may have done it. Okay? May have done it. Just so you know. But let's continue.
Was a well-constructed letter. Final thing I want to say, and now this is opinion, that it is interesting to me that we got this ransom letter, but also the other 2 media outlets that got the ransom letters were both located in Tucson. They were television stations in Tucson. So why would somebody who wrote a letter like this know about the local stations and send to the local stations if they have no connection to Tucson? It feels like there is a connection to Tucson with the person who wrote this letter. And, a lot of people are saying, well, it happened because Savannah Guthrie is rich and famous, which she is. But is it that somebody looked at Savannah Guthrie and said, let's find a relative? Or is it somebody who lives in the Tucson area and either knows Nancy Guthrie or knows of her and knows her famous daughter is Savannah Guthrie, and it hatches from that? It seems to me, just based on where the letter went, that it's the latter. So the bottom line here, I know that the law enforcement has been saying they are desperate for clues, and they clearly are. But just in terms of the people who might help, I think heads up in this area.
I mean, I feel like it's safe to say that she is, if someone does, someone does have her. Okay, someone does have her. Is she alive? Is she gone? We don't know. One thing is for sure, we know that someone has her because she's nowhere. She's not at home. She gone. I feel that, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, someone's within that radius for sure. It took a few days for them to respond. Now, he's not wrong with this theory. He's not wrong with this theory here, which is, it took days for them to actually respond to, or not respond, but send this alleged ransom note. And of course, putting out information to let them know that we indeed have her. And then, of course, saying, give us money, right? It took days for them to do it. Why? Could it be because they were traveling? Could it be because they were driving to another state, to another part of Arizona? That's possible. And then be able to take her, put her in the, get her holed up wherever she is. You see what I'm saying? It's just something to think about, right? It's definitely something to think about, because she's definitely not getting on a plane. Obviously, she's definitely not getting on a plane. And here's the other thing too. Brian Rambles just said, talk cognitive decline. If this was, you mean like the cognitive decline is the reason why she kicked rocks? Here's the thing. If she did, they would have found her by now. She would have been found somewhere in the desert somewhere. You see what I'm saying? She would have been found somewhere. Gone, of course. So it can't be cognitive decline. Because it is possible that, nothing happened. She had a mental break and, but at the same time, and then somehow she got cut during this mental break. I don't know, but that just seems a little odd, right? Yeah, it is a big desert, but at the same time, I'm just like, just something about it's really getting at me. You know what I'm saying about this whole situation? Something's really getting at me about the ransom note too. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the ransom note isn't real. They're treating it as it is real. But the fact that the whole world has seen the video of the Guthrie kids asking for proof of life, and the fact that they haven't even shown any proof of life is insane. But of course, my question to you guys, and it's pinned at the top of the chat right now, is would you pay that ransom without even seeing proof of life? What would you do? Right? Me? I don't know. I really don't know. Because I wouldn't want to, because here's the thing. I wouldn't want to give anybody, just any old body, millions and millions of dollars if I had access to that, right? We all want to be a billionaire so freaking bad, right? But in reality, would I just drop that money without even seeing not one little bit, not a little semblance of hope? I feel like there needs to be something said, something proven, right? Before I just drop that, right? But let's see. Sorry, just checking something. I don't know. I just couldn't just you know what I mean? I just think that's I just think it's reckless and insane to just go, here's all this. Here you go. You know what I mean? Here you go. Here's the money. I don't have any proof. There's no proof of you exist, her in your presence at all. So I'm just going to give you millions and millions of dollars. I don't know. It might be a fugazi. I don't know, guys. But hopefully these bad guys over this weekend send some sign of proof of life.
Hey guys, I wanted to give you guys an update. I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house here in Tucson. There's not going to be any official updates coming out of the sheriff's office today. There's not going to be another press briefing. They said that unless something happens or there's a big development, we should not expect there to be any kind of press conference today. So I won't have any new information coming out of the sheriff's office as of now. Something that is new, though, is someone who saw the ransom letter is saying that there is something else in the letter that alludes to the fact that the person who wrote it knows something about Nancy Guthrie that is important. And I'm not talking about the Apple iWatch or the floodlight. Harvey Levin at TMZ has also said that he believes that the person is, based on what is in the letter, that a part of it that hasn't been made public, he believes that the person who wrote it is in the Tucson area, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know how to elaborate on that because I don't know what part. I haven't seen the letter myself. But the first deadline was yesterday at 5 p.m. The next deadline is apparently on Monday. So that's kind of the latest. I'm just sort of waiting out here to see if there's any developments. I was just over at Annie, the sister's house. It's very quiet over there. And the thought with the neighbors there is that Annie and Savannah and the rest of the family have actually left that house and that there's no one inside that house right now. I don't know for sure if that's true, but that's what the neighbors think. And it does seem really quiet over there and there's less security outside. So that's the latest. I'll keep you guys posted today. I got a few other things I'm going to check out, and I'll.
So, yeah, not a whole lot of movement going on right now, but I am hopeful that maybe there will be movement. Like maybe there will be some updates here this afternoon at some point. You know what I mean? But it is very strange that we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything at all from these bad guys. I guess the ongoing question is, are we going to hear anything from anyone anytime soon, right? Because this is some, like I said, some scary stuff. And that's the other thing too. Like, hold on, sorry. There's just some things that just are not making sense. Where is this woman, and who has this woman, right? But hold on, I'm checking a few more things here real quick. Uno momento, por favor. Yeah, that's the other thing too. We need to talk about that as well. I forgot. Thank you so much for that reminder. We got another conversation, another missing person as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're still looking at this though. Okay. We are going to talk about that though, because that is important. 1 second, guys. Just getting a few things. This is so odd. Hold on. Let's take a look at today's show.
And the increasingly desperate search for Nancy Guthrie.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you.
Late last night, Savannah posting this video of her brother Cameron talking directly to the person or people who potentially took their 84-year-old mother.
We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
The video was posted just minutes after the first of 2 deadlines on a reported ransom note sent to 3 news outlets, according to the FBI.
The ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today. And if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday.
The special agent in charge says the FBI is still investigating the legitimacy of the ransom note, which he says referenced an Apple Watch and floodlights, information that was publicly available. But the note did not include any contact information.
In a normal kidnapping case, there would be contact by now.
Authorities also arresting a man they say sent a hoax ransom demand to Savannah's sister Annie and brother-in-law.
Yeah, that piece of trash.
Who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions.
Now entering the 6th day of the search, authorities still have no suspect or person of interest in the case. But they did release a more detailed timeline of the night Nancy disappeared. They say at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnected. At 2:12, software detected movement on a camera. And at 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected. Authorities also confirming blood found on the porch was Nancy's. The sheriff tells us investigators do not have the doorbell security camera from Nancy Guthrie's house and have not been able to access any surveillance footage from the home.
Just want to give you guys this information. I'm reading this off screen, but as of, like about an hour ago, well, actually more like about 30 minutes ago, they posted this. This is from USA Today. They're basically saying that the sheriff is halting all press conferences. So they're not doing, and we heard this during the press conference as well from yesterday, but he's like, we are not doing any press conferences anytime soon for the foreseeable future until a meaningful update is available. So we're not going to hear anything from 5-0 for a good long time. Like, we may not hear anything until basically Monday from law enforcement, because obviously the cutoff time is Monday. There's another deadline for Monday, so we got to wait and see what's going to happen with that, right? That's just so crazy. So again, I get it, unless it's necessary. Like, I get that part, but I also feel like the sheriff is definitely in his feelings about this. He's like, well, I don't want to give up too much information now, because if I give up any more information, it's going to leak all over the place. Everybody going to know everything, and I ain't trying to do that. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, the lack of transparency, I think, is BS in my personal opinion. But I guess we're just going to have to keep on trucking and get this information from other sources. That's just how it's going to be.
What gives you hope that Nancy is still out there?
Wow. You have to have hope. You have to have hope. You can't. Come on, this is somebody's mom. We're going to find her.
And guys, as for those reported ransom notes, the FBI says if they do turn out to be legitimate, those demands, and they are able to make that contact, that the FBI is prepared. They say they have crisis negotiators here in Tucson ready to assist the family. Meanwhile, the FBI is also ramping up their search efforts, and they are now offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest, or more importantly, to Nancy. Craig.
Liz Courts Force there in Arizona again. Liz, thank you. NBC's Tom Winter covers crime and security force. Tom, good morning. So now we have two.
So he talks about the idea of possibly like the camera being taken off the front door as a test. So this is the interview, if I'm correct, where he talks about that.
Videos from the family, both addressing the abductors. Where do things stand now with regard to the investigation? Where do things go from here?
Sure. So, we all heard that press conference yesterday. There were some key pieces of evidence that they hoped that they would be able to have. They would give them some of the critical clues to try to figure out who's responsible for all this. And those things didn't pan out. So right now you do have these ransom notes. It's the best thing that's in front of the family, the best thing that's in front of law enforcement as far as a possible avenue. And look, even if these ransom notes turn out to be a hoax, you've still got Savannah Guthrie communicating directly to whoever did this, saying, hey, the door is wide open. Contact us. We're here. We're ready to listen. That's what she's been saying. You've got her brother coming out, having a statement last night. We haven't heard from you, but we're here. We're ready to go. So even if the person who is actually holding Nancy or was responsible for this crime is not connected to these letters, you're still giving that person a path to say, look, let's talk.
Well, if that ransom note is legitimate, I mean, everybody's buzzing about this. It revealed, let's see, it includes 2 deadlines, no way of communicating. And it also mentions that Apple Watch and that floodlight. What are we supposed to make of this?
What we're supposed to make of it, according to law enforcement, is, look, we're taking it seriously. That's what they're saying this morning. And they haven't been able to tie it definitively back. They don't have a kidnapper. They don't know for sure that these notes are there, but we did have a 5 p.m. deadline yesterday. And so the hope is, and perhaps that's already happened just here in the last couple of moments, the last couple of hours, is that whoever sent this reaches back out. If it's legitimate, they'll reach back out. The family has said, look, show us proof of life and we'll talk. We will have a serious discussion about this. And so you're hoping with these deadlines coming up that there is an additional attempt to follow up. The other piece of this is the Apple Watch and the floodlights. Of course, there's floodlights at Nancy Guthrie's home. There's an Apple Watch photo. We have it. There's a great photo of it here in a loving embrace between Savannah and her mom.
In the studio.
Right here, just 4 or 5 feet to my right.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, you say, okay, does this person have any additional information? In this follow-up, can they offer something that says definitively, oh, they really know something about Nancy that the public doesn't know?
Tom, one of the things that stood out to me yesterday most was this timeline, a more specific timeline. In fact, I want to put it up for folks at home, and let's drill down some of these times and what, if anything, we can glean from them. What stands out to you, and how could this inform the investigation moving forward?
A timeline, you talk to any investigator, you talk to anybody that's trying to solve a crime, is one of the most critical pieces that you have to establish. And there's some really interesting information on this. The first one being, when these security cameras, the first security camera is taken off the door there. That is a critical moment because that indicates that's when the crime starts.
At 1:47.
At 1:47. 1:47, the doorbell camera disconnects. That's a critical moment. 2:12, software detects a person on a camera. Now, you might be sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, you just told me that they took the doorbell camera off the door. According to the sheriff, there are multiple cameras that were at the home. They may not have been in a position to record, or they may not have been saving that moment, but at least there is a software that says that there's some motion out there. We all have these apps, or we've seen them, that tells us somebody's outside. So that's at 2:12. And then at 2:38, the Pacemaker app disconnects from the phone. So for sure, Nancy Guthrie is separated from her phone at a moment before 2:38, because obviously it goes out of range. So it's still connected for a little bit. But we know that the phone, which was found in the house, according to the sheriff, that Nancy Guthrie is away from the home and away from that phone sometime before 2:38. And of course, you got this question, well, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
What's with that 20-minute time gap? The cameras gets ripped off the doorbell, but then there's motion seen on the camera outside, 20 minutes later. What's that about? Some people in law enforcement wonder if the person took the doorbell camera off and waited to see if police arrived. Would that alert anything? Would that do anything? And then perhaps thinking the coast was clear, goes back to the house. We don't know. We don't know the specifics of what camera detected the motion either.
Sure.
That's a bit of a challenge. So again, it speaks to the fact that we have some information. There are some clues for sure, but we don't have a lot of details. It's that critical moment, though. We know now, 2:28, that's when the person is out of there. That does give them an opportunity now for the team that's trying to hunt down these cell phones. That takes a lot of time. It's a little bit of art and science.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody's on the move here. For the people we were talking about yesterday with the license plate readers, with the vehicles, okay, what is the time period here when we can start to look at these cameras? How many cars are on the road at 2:30 in the morning? And so maybe we can start to put that together. But I will tell you all and warn everybody on this, that type of work takes a long time. That
does take a long time. I'll be real. But at the same time, if the claims are true, the last person to see her walk into the house is Tommaso, then they need to really be asking him a whole lot of questions. He may have an alibi. He may have a solid alibi. We don't know, right? But one thing's for sure, they don't know where What I want to know is, are they looking at all the information of Tommaso's car or Annie's car, right? Like, of course, they're saying that, they keep pushing back, like, we didn't take her car. We didn't take Tommaso's car, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, maybe you did, and you're just not willing to say that out loud. Now, again, just because they took their cars doesn't automatically mean that they are the assailants, that they are the bad people, right? But nonetheless, that's something that, just fess up to it and say what it is. And if he is not someone of interest, even Annie too, then say that too. Let the people know, right? Because now, now everybody's side-eyeing the hell out of this situation. Now, Jean-Benet Ramsey's dad spoke out on Fox. So I'm gonna play that too, because he said a few things about this whole kidnapping, abduction situation. So let's take a look at this.
Our next guest has a personal tie to a case like this. When John Ramsey's 6-year-old daughter, Jean-Benet, disappeared on Christmas Day back in 1996, the Ramseys found a ransom note and called the police. Unfortunately, Jean-Benet was found murdered in the family's basement, and her killer has not been found. John Ramsey joins us now. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
You're welcome.
What do you gather from the latest video that Savannah Guthrie's brother just released? And what do you gather from the ransom note, considering you've had experience with this?
Well, I haven't seen either, but the ransom note in our case was just somebody's fantasy. And I don't know that you can take much from it. I think that bottom line is Mrs. Guthrie was abducted, and it's a kidnapping. So whether there's a ransom note or not is irrelevant.
John, what does the family do in this situation? I'm sure, I don't know how many millions they're asking for, but I'm sure they have access to that, considering that it's such a high-profile family and they have lots of high-profile friends. I'm sure they have access to that kind of money when it means someone's life is on the line. But what do? Do they pay it?
No, not unless they know that she's alive. And that's what we required. We were prepared to require that in Jean-Benet's case. We had the money ready, but our plan, we were supposed to get a call, and our plan was, let me talk to my daughter. And if she's alive, we'll get the money to you and get her back. But you just don't want to, particularly in this world, you just don't want to be sending money to anybody that.
Because they're
claims
going to
it.
know, they're going to be scared if they let her go that she knows the whereabouts, she knows the voice, she knows what this person may or may not look like. So it's a really tough position for a family to be in all the way around. What's happening behind the scenes, John? What's going on behind the walls of that house, wherever the children are together?
Well, it's horrible. It's a horrible anxiety and a feeling of helplessness. What can I do? How do I get my mother back? And it's a horrible time for them. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
And sleep's out of the question. The poor families had to wait now 5 days. And, we thought we had to wait 24 hours because the ransom note said it'll call you tomorrow. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. Obviously, I'm not going to go to bed. How am I going to function? And, but yet I felt like I needed to keep alert and be able to deal with whatever came my way. I really thought I could get my daughter back. I think the important thing for the family is to make sure the police are doing everything that can be done. We have 18,000 police jurisdictions in this country, and some of them are small, some of them are big, but none of them are competent in everything. Yeah. And so the key is that they insist the police accept help from whoever offers it. FBI can bring in a huge amount of resources if they're asked. They have to be asked, and it sounds like they're working.
Donald Trump gave them permission. Yeah, federal agents are going to help everybody.
So that's the key. Bring in every resource you get your hands on. Don't let ego and pride and this is my territory. Right. That's irrelevant. That shouldn't be part of the decision-making process.
What about lie detector tests? Because I know they haven't ruled out anyone as a suspect. I'm not saying that anyone in the family might have done that or did do this, but it's always a possibility. If you watch any crime show, it's usually the family or someone that has access inside the home, someone that knows this individual and has that information. Is everyone getting a polygraph test right now? What's happening on that end behind the scenes? Us now?
No, I don't think so. I think that, to me, the key piece is the DNA. They've treated the crime scene, they've treated the house as a crime scene, which is critical. They need to scour the house thoroughly for DNA. And if they get what they believe is unidentified DNA that they can't trace, then that DNA needs to go to an outside lab, like an Othram or a Parabon, who can implement investigative genetic genealogy. That's the latest and greatest technique for solving or at least identifying the culprit. If they can do that, they've had a pretty good shot at identifying who this is. There's no whoever did this is a psychopath and sadistic and just a wacko, and so you can't. They don't think logically. They don't. It doesn't fit the TV mold of crime shows.
John,
there's a question here that makes a good question here, or is a good question. Patissimo just said, "Can AI fake the voice of their mother? Possibly, if they have something that they could use to fake her voice, for sure. But I feel like there would be like a, hey, mom, if this is really you used to call Annie a specific nickname when she was a little kid. Can you give us the nickname or something of that sort, right? What was the name of our first dog or something of that sort? You know what I mean? So they could literally do something just to make sure, if it was a phone call, that it was authentically her, right? So there's some things that they could do, but I doubt that they would do that. They would have to they literally have to show, they have to show that this woman's alive and breathing. It can't just be a phone call, you know? Can't just be audio. They're going to be like, I want to see your face. I want to see that you're okay. I want to see proof that you are still alive, right? And of course, you know, John Ramsey, I mean, you know, he has been there, done that for sure, for lack of a better term. And of course, you know, we are still, I'm very concerned, y'all. Like I'm very, very concerned. I'm really hoping she's found. This is very frustrating, but we have to do a little bit of a detour for a second, because there's some developing news that just happened revolving around this other case that I was going to talk to you guys about, and it looks like it might have come to an end. Now, I don't know if you know who Lil Jon is, okay? I don't know if you know who Lil Jon is, all right? But this also is happening right now in Atlanta, okay? Lil Jon's son has been missing, and now they believe that he's been found, and he may have been found in a pond. But before we go into that here real quick, he may have been found because the body has been discovered in a pond. But before we go into that, I want to show you guys this first.
Police continue to search for 27-year-old Nathan Smith, who goes by DJ Young Slade. He's the son of Atlanta rapper Lil Jon.
Police say he's been missing since 6 o'clock Tuesday morning. Fox 5's Tara Jabor joins us live now in Milton, where police are searching. Tara, what are you seeing right now?
Crazy.
Well, guys, right now we are here near Mayfield Park, and this is around where DJ Young Slade was last seen. As you can see behind me, there are still some law enforcement vehicles here. Now, I've spoke to several neighbors today, and every single one has told me that they are praying for the family and hoping that he's found safe. Take a look at this picture from Milton Police. This is 27-year-old Nathan Smith, also known as DJ Young Slade. He's the son of Atlanta rapper Lil Jon. Police say he was last seen near Baldwin Drive and Mayfield Road in Milton. He's 5'9" and weighs about 150 pounds. Today, neighbors told us this community is small and a tight-knit group of people.
I love this neighborhood. We've lived here for over a year. I've got two little boys who are 9 and 11, and there are kids outside playing all the time. It's very family friendly.
Milton police say DJ Young Slade left his house at 6 a.m. on Tuesday and ran out of his house. Police say he may be disoriented and in need of assistance. Family and friends are concerned for his safety. Vickers, who lives nearby, says she was walking her dog at around 6 a.m. on Tuesday but didn't see anything. She is praying for the family.
I know he's 27 years old. My kids are younger, but they're always going to be my babies. And I host a small group at my house on Wednesdays, and we said a prayer for his family on Wednesday.
Law enforcement have been out here all day in Mayfield Park. We saw several canines searching around the neighborhood and near this body of water. We even saw a bloodhound from the Haralson County Sheriff's Office. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says they were requested, and the bloodhound has had 25 successful searches in the last year.
And I've been praying for his entire family, but especially from mom to mom. I just know that that's her baby, and I hope he's found. I hope he's found safe.
So again, I was just playing this little backstory for you guys.
Everything that is
so
making
you know
headlines
what's
this afternoon.
come on. So I wanted to play that for you guys really quick. Obviously, they're now saying that a body has been found in the pond or in a pond. Okay, and this is Lil Jon, rapper Lil Jon. Yeah. Okay, Lil Jon. Okay, Lil Jon. So his son has been missing, and apparently police believe he was found in a pond. Okay, deceased in a pond. All right. So let's take a look at this. All right. Police announced a body has been located in the search for DJ Young Slade, Lil Jon's son, who was reported missing in Georgia this week. And they believe it's him. And this is what TMZ is reporting right now. Milton Police said Cherokee County Fire Department personnel pulled a body from a pond where they'd been searching for Slade. So in the same area that they were looking for his son is the same area that they found this body, which is terrible. His legal name is Nathan Murray Smith, and they found his body this morning. That person is believed to be Nathan Smith, police said. The Fulton County medical examiner is working to confirm the identification and the cause of death. Police said there is no indication of foul play, but the investigation is ongoing. So of course there's a live feed also going on over there as well. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. Video captures divers searching a pond near the family's estate in Milton, Georgia, ultimately pulling a body from the water. As we told you, Milton Police Department put out a missing persons alert for Nathan Tuesday after the department said he dashed from his home barefoot. So Milton is about 30 miles north of Atlanta. So this is what they said on the morning of February 3rd. Milton Police Department officers responded to a report of a missing adult in the area of Baldwin Drive in Milton, Georgia. Responding officers determined that a Milton resident, Nathan Smith, Lil Jon's son, had left his residence under unusual circumstances and could not be located. The Milton Police Department immediately began search efforts and coordinated with multiple partner agencies that assisted in searching for Mr. Smith over the following several days. After being unable to locate Mr. Smith during that time, teams expanded the search to include a pond in Mayfield Park near Smith's Milton residence. On February 6th, at approximately 11:53 a.m., divers in the Cherokee County Fire Department located and recovered a body from the pond. So this morning, not so long ago, they found a body. The individual is believed to be Nathan Smith, pending official confirmation by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office. Based on the investigation to date, there is no indication of foul play. However, the Milton Police Department Criminal Investigations Division will continue to treat this as an open, active investigation. No further details will be released until the official cause of and manner of death are determined by the Fulton County Medical Examiner, and all investigative leads have been thoroughly examined. We extend our deepest condolences to the Smith family during this difficult time. The department respectfully asks the community and members of the media to honor the family's request for privacy as they grieve and navigate this tragedy. So they're already saying that this is him, that his body has been found, and this may have been a self-deletion type of thing, if you get what I'm saying. But let's take a look at this. This is all sad, man. All sad.
We want to check in with our Angelique Proctor, who is on top of new developments, tragic ones at that, with the search of Atlanta rapper Lil Jon's son. It seems like there's been a devastating development here, Angelique. What more do we know?
Well, good afternoon to you, Tom. Yes, heartbreaking development here in the city of Milton. We are at Mayfield Park. This is the spot where Milton police had been looking for about 3.5 days. They do confirm for us that they did pull a body from this pond that you see here this afternoon. This is where they had been searching for 27-year-old Nathan Smith, who is well known in Atlanta circles as DJ Young Slade, and is, as you said, the son of rapper Lil Jon. Well, Smith was last seen leaving his home around 6 a.m. on Tuesday. He was described as being disoriented and possibly being in need of assistance. And so for 3.5 days, police, canine, divers, and even a bloodhound had been searching for Smith. We do have some new images from Skyfox 5. It was about 11:53 this morning that officials found what they believe is the body of Nathan Smith. My colleague who was on the scene at the time tells me a body bag was brought to the scene. The medical examiner showed up, and we, as members of the media, were asked to move back. Then at approximately about 1:45, a gurney was put in a transport van, and that van pulled off.
Now, just so you know, Lil Jon's son was 27 years old. It sounds like this could have been some sort of mental health break. because I mean, he ran out of his home. Apparently, he ran out of his residence barefoot. So this may have been, some sort of, it could have been a substance-induced psychosis, or he could have just had a mental health break. And then, of course, did what he allegedly did. So again, we just got to leave all those things on the table until the medical examiner comes back with whatever they find.
So many people in this family-friendly community were hoping for the best. I have talked to some of them since I have been here, but this Friday afternoon, there is utter sadness. Now, the Milton Police Department says it will not comment further on this case until the medical examiner positively identifies this body. And of course, the Smith family has asked for privacy, and we will, in fact, honor that. Tom.
Angelique, as you say, just a sad development in this case. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to Lil Jon's family as they deal with the situation. Though I am curious, in the lead up to this disappearance and, of course, the discovery today, we had heard a lot about the fact that, as you mentioned, he may have been disoriented upon his disappearance and in need of medical assistance. Did we know anything about his mental acuity? In other words, what might have set him off wandering in the first place?
Tom, we do not have the answer to that. And I was just speaking to someone sort of inquiring about that very thing, his mental state of mind on Tuesday or of late. And they said they really did not know, but that is certainly a question that many people are asking right now. And we hope to get to the bottom of at some point. As we have said, Milton Police are not answering any questions at this time because I'm curious as to who it was that saw him leaving his apartment at 6 a.m. looking disoriented. Someone obviously mentioned that aspect to Milton Police because they shared it with us. So still a whole lot of questions here.
No doubt.
A lot of
Yeah, this is that's very, very sad. And if this is him, I mean, which it sounds like it very well is him, may he rest in peace. And of course, my condolences to the Lil Jon family. They're probably a mess right now. This is all so sad, and terrible, terrible information, for sure. But we got to swing back over into this conversation again. The conversation about Nancy Guthrie, for sure. So we're going to swing back into that conversation. Here's something that I think is interesting. They are going in. Now people are upset, apparently, with the sheriff. Surprise, surprise. Okay. So they're apparently mad at the police, especially Nanos, for not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Apparently, they say that there was moments that he just dropped the ball in the very early stages of this investigation. Let's take a look at this. What did he screw up on? I'm curious. Maybe that's why he's been in his feelings about this as well, being like, I didn't say anything like that. I'm just going to retract everything I said, right? But the the critical first 12 hours, apparently he dropped the ball on, right? So the sheriff leading the search for missing Nancy Guthrie is facing mounting allegations for his mismanagement, or that his mismanagement crippled the crucial early stages of this investigation. Multiple sources close to the Pima County Sheriff's Department have told the Daily Mail that Sheriff Nanos made a series of missteps that slowed the initial response, including the handling of the crime scene and contradictory messages being used to the public. Thank you. Somebody else is saying, other people are finally, all these other outlets are basically finally saying the same thing that I've been saying, which is, wait, that makes no earthly sense that he would say one thing out here, then go to a press conference, which was the last that we will see for a while, and him retract everything. Everything. That's insane. We can now reveal that, according to those insiders, a vital search and rescue aircraft was grounded in the initial hours of the investigation when it was needed most. Sup with that, baby. Nanos's office allegedly failed to deploy its fixed-wing Cessna aircraft, known as Survey 1, during the make-or-break initial phase after Nancy was reported missing from her home, in Tucson. The aircraft, equipped with high-resolution thermal imaging cameras capable of scanning vast swaths of desert terrain, remained on the tarmac for roughly half a day, sources say, despite a situation in which every minute can mean the difference between life and death. Absolutely. According to Sergeant Cross, president of the Pima County Sheriff's Deputies Association, the aircraft is the quote-unquote most valuable law enforcement asset in southern Arizona. That's insane. Okay, we already know that she was missing. Nancy went missing around 2 a.m. on Sunday. All right, she was reported shortly before noon or around noon, failing to appear at church. The alleged delay in getting the surveillance aircraft airborne was not caused by mechanical issues or by weather, but by staffing shortages that left the department without qualified pilots to fly the doggone plane. A shortage sources blame directly on Nanos. Cross and County GOP Chairman Kathleen Wynn told the Mail that trained aviators could have crewed the aircraft that had been transferred out of the Air Operations Unit in recent weeks. One was a 17-year veteran pilot allegedly reassigned for disciplinary reasons the week before Guthrie disappeared. Another had been moved out of the unit in November of 2025. Nanos did not fill those positions afterwards. As a result, Survey 1 could not take off until approximately 5 p.m. on Sunday. So a whole 5 hours after they reported her missing. You realize that, that's ample time for somebody to get gone. What? This left the department without a crew to respond to the search due to short staffing. If they had somebody who could fly the plane, they could have probably found her instantly if she was out in the desert. The most important, crucial hours and minutes right after someone is missing, we've lost those. So it was deployed instead. A helicopter was deployed instead, but lacked the sophisticated sensors and thermal imaging technology aboard the actual Survey 1. The allegations have added fuel to growing criticism of Nanos' handling of the case, which has drawn national attention, triggered federal involvement at the direction of President Trump, and ignited fierce local backlash. He's looking like Boo Boo the Fool. He's most definitely looking like Boo Boo the Fool right now. Why? Because he says all kinds of different things, and then he retracts them 5 seconds later. Dear Lord, guys. There is a lot that they need to figure out as soon as possible, because honestly, I mean, obviously right now the FBI is spearheading everything now, right? But that's not how we should be handling these situations. Okay? Especially when you got law enforcement coming in and being like, the sheriff coming in, saying all this stuff for like a whole, for the last 5 days, let's just say, right? And then at that last press conference, just completely obliterate everything. and say, oh, all that information you received before was not, I don't know where you got that. I have no idea where you got that information. You are out your damn mind talking about the door being busted open or there being blood inside the house or any of these other things. Oh, that Tommaso was the one who dropped her off. I didn't say any of that. We're just going to say family member dropped her off. That's it. When in actuality, he did say those things. So there's big problems here, guys. You know, massive, massive problems with how they're handling things. And, and I think all of us are pretty much burnt out and frustrated with that, with this type of handling of the case. But hopefully, FBI is now spearheading this whole investigation. Hopefully, they're going to have a zero tolerance with everything and that they are going to get this assailant or get these bad guys as soon as possible. But there were certain things that could have been done way in advance that didn't happen. Right? Yeah, this is crazy, guys. Well, that's it for now, guys. I will most likely be on a little bit later on this evening to talk to you guys and give you guys more updates, because obviously there will be more updates, I'm sure. But let me get these super chats here really quick, though. Carol Arrow, thank you so much for love. Well, what's being done to the junior staffer? Lies. That's what I'd like to know, too. That person ain't going to, because that person doesn't exist. That junior staffer doesn't exist. Trust. Reed, thank you so much. He's a liar. He already took the mick out of that disabled guy in public. F him. He's disgusting. Yeah, he really, yeah. Yeah. Hollis, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome to the family, all 5 of you. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. And please pay it forward by opening the door for somebody, being nice to somebody, blah, 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 right? All those niceties help tremendously, okay? No Joy here. Thank you so much. You would think her children would pay it for her. Well, here's the thing. I think the children are willing to pay it, but they just want to know proof of life, right? They want to make sure that this is real, right? I think we would all want to know if it's real, right? And he's a creative writer. Thank you so much, Ree. You never know, though. But yeah, she is a creative writer. She is. Could be ChatGPT. It could be a very, eloquent and articulate individual. It could be that too, right? It took some time to think this thing up. This isn't just off of a whim and a prayer. They had to come up with this whole thing and execute this plan. That is if she really is taken, right? But yeah, Annie is a creative writer. You're right. You are definitely right. Crisis, thank you so much for the love. Pascal, did you get my apology? I'm sorry for my comments last night. I had too many twisted T's. I didn't get the apology, but you're good. Okay. I don't think any part of this case is real at all. I say total propaganda. Wow. Okay. Well, if it is propaganda, it'd be interesting if it was propaganda. I mean, what's the purpose, right? What's the reason why for the propaganda? You know what I mean? That's something I'd like to know. If it is that, why? Why that? You know what I mean? Something to think about, though. All right. But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. I'll be back on in a little while. Trust me. Okay. I'll be back on in a little while. Maybe there's going to be some developments this evening. And if there is, I'll be here to talk about it. Trust and believe. But on your way out, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Go to the second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? We got some really great stuff over there, PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.